Hi, welcome. My name is Marya Kazmi, and I am the producer and host of Pain to Power, which is a talk show all about healing. But I am also the creator of the workshops and course that is called Empowerment Unlocked. It is a 5 course series all about healing and learning how to unlearn patterns that have kept us in loops of pain or just patterns of behaviors that are not benefiting us. So, today I'm really excited because we're going to do a little mini workshop to introduce you to the course, which goes live on May 22nd. And you can sign up right now for the course itself. But first, I want to just give you a little background of who I am and why I do what I do. So I have been on this healing journey for 8 years now, really. And it came from me going through a very damaging and painful marriage and coming out of it after 17 years and 4 children later, realizing that there are things I tolerated and there are things that I believed were my truth and my reality because I had been socialized in and thought that that was really who I was and what was my truth. So part of my healing journey has been coming home to myself to recognize that I'm not necessarily coming and becoming someone new, but actually I'm unlearning what kept me from being me. So this webinar is a process of unlearning, and that's what we're going to be doing today is unlearning some of our patterns. And here we go. There we go. Yeah, so that's it. Unlearning to heal. This is how the stories we inherit have shaped what we tolerate, and how we're going to unlearn them is the key. So I want you just to think for a moment about some of the lessons in life that you've experienced. Because, like I said, I've been unlearning patterns that have happened to me that I believed were the right way to be, the right way to show up, the right way to be in a relationship, how to be a parent. All of those things were messages that I've internalized. And that's the course. We're going to talk about those messages that we internalize and where they come from. So, right now, I just want you to think for a moment about some of those messages, right? Have you ever thought to yourself, why did I accept that? Why did I accept that treatment? Why did I accept that experience as the right thing for me when I knew it wasn't right? Because a lot of times we know. We know in our bodies because they tell us first, right? And we know because it's not aligned with our full being of who we are. And so we have to fit and contort ourselves to fit into the spaces that we're in rather than fully showing up as our authentic selves. So maybe when you said, why did I accept that? Think about some of the beliefs you might have had. Here's a few to think about, right? Maybe it was being good means staying quiet. If I don't say anything, then everything stays okay. Or if I set boundaries, I'll push people away because boundaries sometimes scare other people. I will be loved if I make sacrifices. Isn't that one we've seen many, many times before? And maybe you've seen it and you've heard it yourself. Or I have to earn love if I suck up my pain and keep moving forward. I will be fine because sometimes the messages that we learn are about emotions and how we deal with our pain. So, all of these are those belief systems. And I'm sure maybe something resonated with you. Put a little heart in the comment if you recognize it, if it's familiar to you, if you know that those words, you're like, yeah, that's me. That's what I felt. That's what I've done. Because so many of us have. And it doesn't mean you're wrong, because the beauty of healing is that at any point you can turn your story around and reclaim it for yourself. And that's the goal of Empowerment Unlock, is how do we reclaim our true selves, our true identity, not with the messages we've been told about who we are. So I'd love to get a little interactive here. I'm not sure if we have anybody in here to be interactive with, but I'm hoping that you're watching this and recognizing. And I want you to just to think about maybe a belief that you were taught that you now question and you want to challenge. And how do you take that belief? And first, think about, well, where did it come from? Was it something that maybe you were rewarded for when you were a kid. So being good means staying quiet. Well, I was the middle kid. I was the middle kid, and I was always considered the easy kid, which means that to continue to be easy, I just had to go along with everyone. And sometimes that meant that I was receiving um, things that I didn't want, or I was left out of things because I just went along. And the narrative that came around with me was, well, Mario will do it because Mario's easy. And I did. But that led me also into the pattern of accepting things that I shouldn't accept. And I ended up in my marriage for 17 years. And I'm sure some of you who are here, you're here because you have ended up in spaces that you don't want to be in. Or maybe you're realizing the space that you're in just doesn't fit you in your growth and your expansion. And that happens. And that's reality. And it's something, though, that we can again unlearn and unlock by knowing ourselves. So, what are your beliefs? What are the things that you have come to think are the right way to be, the one way to be, right? So, being good means staying quiet. So, what we're going to do is let's talk about how do we take that belief and now let's turn it around. Let's change that narrative because being good doesn't mean staying quiet. And there's no such thing as just being good, right? Let's reframe that. Most importantly, I am empowered. So if I was reframing it, right? I'm empowered when my voice is heard and I'm honest about what I'm experiencing, because that's when we show up in our authentic selves. Now, to do that, we need to have certain environments and we need to cultivate those environments. And that's what you're going to learn in the course is how do you cultivate some of those environments to be able to speak those truths? How do you recognize the things you need and the things that are happening in your environment that might take from those to speak your truths? So, Empowerment Unlock is really all about that. It's 5 weeks where you're going to be understanding how socialization and identity shapes your patterns. You're going to learn tools for emotional regulation and grounding, and you're going to practice authentic communication and boundary setting because when we set our boundaries, we also then are able to enforce them because we believe in them and we know what they are. And we protect ourselves from the harm of others, but also from falling into the patterns that we've been socialized to believe are the ones that are right for us. And you're going to build a vision for what your empowered self looks like. That's what we do together. And we're doing it not just in me talking, but in us sharing. It's a community of learners, a community of healing. I'm going to be providing you a journal to reflect on. You're going to have time to actually ground yourself and meditate, as well as a lot of group conversations to learn not only by sharing your journey with others, but hearing of others' journeys because something might resonate with you. You might gain a tool from each other in the process. So come join me starting on May 22nd for Empowerment Unlocked. This course where we are realizing that healing doesn't begin with perfection. It begins with permission. Permission to recognize the barriers and the challenges that have impacted our ability to heal and to grow and expand in our authenticness, and then change those narratives with new language, with new beliefs, with reframing, and then live it authentically. And that's what we're going to be doing in Empowerment Unlocked. So join me May 22nd. I'm going to link the link below here so you can see all the information. You can sign up, and it's all the information is here. The course is 5 weeks every Thursday evening for $199 with me, Marya Kazmi, walking through how do we unlock your empowerment because all of it is already inside of you. It's just a matter of unlocking it. I look forward to seeing you in this course, and I'll be back again live doing some workshops so that you can experience it with a bonus for you to take home with you. So stay tuned for another live. I had some technical issues today, but stay tuned for another live on LinkedIn and YouTube where we do some workshop work and actually talk about some of the patterns that you might need to unlock.